and welcome to the Fulhamish Quick Take. We're at Craft Beer Company after, I guess Fulham haven't really shattered the curse against Man United at home. We've just kind of knocked it on the side. Well, it's a 1-1 draw, Fulham at home to Man United. I'm with Dan Cook. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Happy to be back?
Yeah, I think so. I was saying at the ground, I probably could have done with another couple of weeks, but now that the game's finished and we've got another point on the board, happy to be back.
It does feel like 2 minutes since the end of the last season. I don't think my emotions have quite recovered. But I mean, I'm pretty happy with that result. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think so. When you take everything into context, going a goal down, United being better, especially in the first half, better than they have been in previous seasons, continuing how they played against Arsenal, it looked like it was going to be a real tough game. And they had a few chances in that first half to really put us to the sword, and we weathered it, and then to come back in the second half, fight back, get that equaliser. Positive. I do feel like the game was there to be won. That's the only slight frustration, but when you factor in all of the history we've had with them, I think not taking the risk of experiencing that heartache again probably was the sensible choice.
Agreed. If we'd have got this result in that manner against Burnley, Leeds or Sunderland, I would have been fuming. But you know what? It could have been a lot worse, and it usually is. Going into the game, if we are 0-0 at half-time, we're losing it. So, I mean, I'm very happy to be wrong. What did you think of the lineup? Because it seemed like it might have been a little bit of a sign from Silva to say, I need new signings. Castagna, right wing. What do you think?
Yeah, it felt a little bit sort of cat and mousey. It was like we were trying to counteract United's setup by sort of mirroring them, and we saw like when they had the ball, we definitely sat in a five at the back. Castagna playing as a right back with Kenny Tete tucked inside as a centre back, and I don't think it massively worked. When we went forward, the slight downside was that it meant that Castagna was playing as that right winger, and he was a bit ineffective. I think defensively it worked okay, but going forward we just felt a bit blunt. And so I wasn't a huge fan of it. I understood the decision. One of the things I wondered if it was a driver was the fact that Anthony Robinson wasn't fit enough to start. And it felt like we were trying to replace him in the aggregate by having Sessegnon go forward offensively and then Bassi do a lot of that defensive work in behind Sess to sort of balance out the fact that he's not the best left back in the world. But I thought Sess did really well, and I think he held his own in that position defensively and offensively. But we were a lot better when we shifted in that second half to 4 at the back.
Agreed, because I would have said that Sessegnon was one of our brightest sparks in the first half. He was creative, and I felt like he held his own very well. But those changes that Silva made, bringing Harry Wilson on as well, I did feel changed the game in a way. So obviously Harry Wilson came on to replace Castagna. How do you think he fared? Do you think he felt natural in that position?
I think we definitely improved. I actually think it was the second batch of substitutions that really changed the game for us. I thought Raul and obviously Smith Rowe being the goal scorer had a great impact. But it felt like Rodrigo, after having a really impactful appearance off the bench on the south coast, today was a little bit lost, lacked service, but also didn't really get in amongst it. And then Raul came on and he just had this like fire in him that, again, he didn't have at Brighton last week. It wasn't there, but today he came on, he was fizzing, he was chasing after balls, he was winning headers. I thought he made a huge difference when he came on, and he's involved in the build-up to the goal. He's involved in a couple of chances. He flashes one across the face of goal after a great run. So I think that second batch really worked. But it was good to see Wilson get on the pitch. I was a bit disappointed he didn't start. I know he didn't have the best first game of the season, but I think Harry Wilson's set for big things this year, and he was good when he came on, and he linked up really nicely with Kenny Tete coming down that right flank, and Sasha Lukic as well, who he was immense today. I feel like Sasha goes a bit unsung since he's started to put these performances out on a regular basis, but this was like another level. It's a performance like akin to United away when we won there 2-1 a couple of years ago, where just he dominated the middle of that park. He was everywhere. Man of the match for me. Sasha was superb.
Yeah. And do you think possibly he benefited from this formation as well, playing slightly ahead of Berger? So he was allowed to be a bit more fluid and lean into that attacking flair. And I would say that came across more when Wilson did come on, because Castagna wasn't really helping him with the end product. Whereas Harry Wilson, in that first half, everything was coming down the left. Harry Wilson coming on allowed it to come slightly more down that right-hand side, just opened up that flexibility with our attacking play.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think that we saw Sasha in positions that maybe we don't see him in that often nowadays. He popping up in the edge of that box, in that little triangle that we're used to seeing on the other flank. We're used to seeing our number 10 and Anthony Robinson and Alex Iwobi forming little triangles on the edge of the area. And Sasha was freed up to do that on the right-hand side. It felt like, we had a nice balance of threat on both wings, which, again, we really lacked last weekend. It was nice to see a bit more of an even split where we play our football, because we are so left-hand side dominated at times. It made United have to defend both flanks, and they really struggled when we were targeting both.
Yeah, indeed. It made us less predictable. Should we talk about the penalty? Because one of the points that I thought in the first half was our corners looked better. Lukic taking our corners now, and that looked stronger on our set piece front. Having said that, though, on the other end of it, we conceded a penalty from a corner and we conceded our goal from a corner. What do you think of the penalty, first of all?
I can't make my mind up. Personally, I don't think that's a high enough bar for VAR to intervene. That's my
and that
stance
far after as well.
That's my stance on it, is that it's not the smartest thing in the world for Calvin Bassey to do. He said it in his post-match interview. It's gone against him because he's so much stronger than Mason Mount, and that does feel a bit unfair, because all he's doing is bullying him a little bit. But because Mason Mount can't match that physical challenge, he's crumpled a bit more. If that gets given on first viewing, I'm not annoyed if VAR doesn't overturn it. But we keep on hearing about this high bar for it to intervene. It has to be a real mistake. And for me, it wasn't, especially when you consider, 4 centimetres behind them, Rodrigo Muniz is being rugby tackled to the floor by Luke Shaw. It doesn't make sense to me that you give one over the other. They're happening at the same time. I think at that point, no United player appealed for that as a foul. There was no one in the ground who really quite knew what was happening when that flashed up. I had a feeling it was for what happened in the box. I don't know. I don't think we get that decision if it happens down the other end. And actually, it happened in the second half to Raul. Raul got yanked to the floor in an identical fashion outside the box. No free kick. Consistency not there. I was very surprised that got overturned and pretty pissed off, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that's my point. If it was the other way round, and I think the main thing is that Mason Mount just isn't strong enough to stay on his feet. I don't think he goes down easily, but not in an easily way that he's deliberately doing it. He's just failed to stay on his feet.
He's not trying to win a penalty there, because he doesn't throw his hands up and complain or anything. He goes for that physical battle. He loses it, he gets up, and play continues.
Yeah. It's pretty indicative of his whole first half performance anyway. He just felt like a lost puppy in that front line, because he was pretty anonymous until he came off, and apart from that penalty as well. I think I'm in agreement. It's more the time afterwards. Is it good enough to get involved and stop play which has completely moved on? That whole corner has completely escaped our minds. So that's my frustration with it. Moving on to the goal from another corner.
Sorry, can we laugh about the penalty? It's so funny.
Sorry, I forgot that. All right, fair. Yeah.
I have not heard a noise like that in Craven Cottage for a long, long time. That was hilarious. And the fact that it happens in the same year of the identical penalty woes that United fared against us at their own place in the FA Cup. Bruno Fernandes getting in an argument with the referee because he bumped into him.
And that's really thrown him off as well.
That's completely thrown him off. Inexplicably, he then tries to hit it as hard as humanly possible. He's definitely taken someone out in the Hammersmith end. There's someone in the Charing Cross Hospital right now, gash across the eye.
Jalpolinia.
I just that. I mean, like it's going to be hard to top that for moment of the season for me. That was hilarious.
No, fair enough. No, it was absolutely wonderful. And actually, at that point, that was the moment where I was like, we've not taken our chances. We've given ourselves this really annoying penalty to defend now, and I was completely resigned to the fact that this was going to be 1-0 and that was the game over. So it was so sweet to see it missed in that fashion as well from Bruno Fernandes. It was super lovely. Wanted to ask you about before the game, because I mentioned Jalpolinia just then. He was in the ground, and you, I assume, were right next to him going into the ground.
Yeah, spotted him outside the Putney end actually, and then went to go in through the turnstiles at the Hammersmith end, and he was there, and his ticket didn't work. they wouldn't let him in. So one of the Fulham support staff was there and like shepherded him away and put him in through a different entrance. But,
Get out of the way of the riffraff.
like, what a cult hero to just rock up and try and go in through the Hammersmith end turnstiles. He's a bit weird. I'd feel a bit weird if I was a Spurs fan, but fair play.
A day after he scored for you as well.
Man of the match performance at the Etihad, down the cottage on the Sunday. What a guy. Lovely to see him there, and it just shows that we did have a special bond with him.
Yeah, I think also our relationship with Jalpolinia wasn't massively tainted by his move, because no one resented him for that. I think it was very clear that he enjoyed being at Fulham. He played well for Fulham. We loved him there. But equally, we always knew he was possibly above our grade slightly, and no one resented him for going over to Bayern and trying to advance his career, which unfortunately hasn't quite worked out in the way he wanted it to. He's back in London though, so maybe we'll see him more often. Maybe he's going to have that box more often. Did you see Anthony Robinson giving him a little bit of a wave in the bot? Oh, that was lovely. I'm very happy he was there today.
25-26 season is shaping up to be a big one for Fulham, and one thing you need ahead of it is NordVPN, the fastest VPN on the planet that allows you to watch football matches from wherever you are in the world on either your phone, your tablet or your laptop. For instance, you could use NordVPN to watch Premier League matches for a fraction of the price, including those 3 p.m. kickoffs that aren't available in this country. Or if you go on holiday this summer, you can use NordVPN to access your UK TV subscriptions. And right now, you can use NordVPN on up to 10 devices, which means you can share the amazing benefits that NordVPN has with your family or your friends. And you can get a great deal when you sign up to NordVPN at nordvpn.com/Fulhamish. Not only will you get a huge discount, but you'll also get 4 months extra as well. And it's entirely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. So to get that special discount plus 4 free months, go to nordvpn.com/Fulhamish. That's nordvpn.com/Fulhamish.
And the goal as well. What are you thinking from a corner?
Yeah, it's poor from Fulham actually. I understand why Calvin Bassey's disappointed with the shove he gets. We spoke about it before. He gave a comment to Sky saying that if he says anything more, he's going to get fined. He's pretty irritated by the fact that Yoro does put 2 hands in his back. I don't think it's enough. I actually don't think that's enough to call as a foul. I'd like to see him do better there. And then it's actually another unfortunate goal to concede against United because Yoro doesn't get a clean connection on it. It comes, sort of glances off his head, and it's actually Rodrigo Muniz who turns that in. So I feel like we hit these moments with Fulham where you do all of the good work and then you undo it in what feels like a really cheap goal to give away. So it was disappointing. I think that, and we had a giggle, right? Like our attacking set pieces so far in the first 2 games of the season have been on a totally different level to last year. And then we concede from one. Typical.
Yeah, but then we come straight back with so ESR was brought on as another sub goal. ESR comes on as a substitute and actually had a really good cameo. Again, more than happy to concede that I'm wrong. No, I was really happy, and actually he was a pretty bright spark for the rest of his cameo up until full time. Yeah, I'm really happy that and first touch. It was a really good finish.
First touch, exactly what we signed him to do as well. Arrive in the box as a second runner, feed off anything that drops in the area. You know, it's a little bit of like a hopeful ball in from Alex Iwobi. It's not it's just putting it into an area and hoping someone gets on the end of it. And it's that late run from Smith Rowe that we were all hoping we'd see more from him. Very much the goal he scored at Leicester, very similar to that one, where he just arrives in the right place. The one that got me really excited actually was after he scored. There was a moment when a ball sort of got fizzed to him on the edge of the area, and he did a couple of keepy-uppies and then volleyed it off his left foot. Got blocked, nothing came of it, but it's just those little flashes of like, yes, try things, do things. This is what you're really good at. Just give it a go. Find that spark. If it doesn't work, it's fine. Everyone's going to be okay with you trying to make things happen, and that's what this sub-performance was. And I think I wrote an article a couple of weeks ago about how I think Josh King and Smith Rowe are going to be able to feed off each other this season and learn both ways. And I think when Smith Rowe sees the excitement that Josh King brings to the crowd by trying out, taking on a player, flicking it over people, spinning in behind, it can only be beneficial for Smith Rowe to then be like, you know what, I should start doing those things again. I've got to be the person getting the crowd up, getting them on their feet. And he did it. And I think pretty much every sub came off today. Like, I think great to see Anthony Robinson back on the pitch. We saw the number one reason why he's so important for us when Brian and Burmo set through chasing a ball. Anthony Robinson's the only player in our team, barring Adam Traore, who catches up with him there. So fantastic to see him flying again. Harry Wilson was instrumental down that right flank. Raul Jimenez got up and about and made it difficult, and Smith Rowe scored the equaliser. Like, 4 fantastic substitutions.
Yeah, and it's credit to the side that Marco Silva's created. I mean, we'll see if anything comes in at the end of the transfer window, but I think we are lucky in that we've spent like 430k, and we're not dying about it. Like, obviously we would like to have seen more activity. We probably need slightly more activity, because one of the problems I was having was it would be nice to have that exciting winger, that if we're going to stay in this well-drilled formation, it would be nice to have someone just create a moment of magic where you break away and you know that there's a certain goal at the end of it. That would be really, really lovely. And we're possibly missing that from Traore, Wilson, and Iwobi as well. So
I think the thing with the lack of signings, it's imperative that Fulham start well, and we have.
Yeah.
These are 2 really solid results. A point at the Amex, tough place to go. We know Brighton are good. We rode our luck in that game. Point at home to United, who have a horrible record against. By having this continuity and no upheaval in the team, the number one thing you have to do is capitalise on that while other teams are still adjusting. And we saw that with United today. There were good passages of play and there were rubbish ones. There were ones where it didn't work, where they weren't sure what their shape was, where they didn't track runners, where they didn't have options going forward. Whereas we know all of our routines. We know how every player knows what the other player brings. And so it's just important, again, you know, obviously Chelsea away is going to be a tough one, but then you lead into Leeds and Brentford, and we just need to carry that momentum of familiarity through this early part of the season.
Yeah, no, 100%. And if ESR keeps us up, I'm feeling really hopeful for this season. It could be a fun season. It would be really nice to see us push on slightly. But anyway, we always do this. We've been chatting for ages, and we have a pod to do tomorrow as well, which is we've got to elongate this 1-1 draw against Man United for another hour. But no, it'll be all right. Thank you very much, Dan, for joining me on the Quick Take.
It's a pleasure to be back. Thank you, Yasmin.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe, and also listen back to our pod tomorrow. We're both going to be on it talking about this game for another hour. Come on, you Whites.